So I'm making this easier on myself and making it easier on everyone else when I break down the JayJay mentality to like gestation when you are pregnant, because every pregnant person understands the first 3 trimesters, and there's different developmental processes that happen within the first 3 trimesters when someone's pregnant and then the baby is born. Now, I'm not going to go and say that JayJay is like a born again thing, because I'm not trying to appeal to the religious crowd, though. I mean, I'm sure they're going to see it that way in some level. But the JayJay mentality is like first 3 trimesters, okay? The first one, most people can't seem to get out of. They don't make the first trimester because they have such an aversion to pain that they eventually go back to their old lifestyle and just give up. And that is most of the people that came on board in the beginning of the JayJay mentality, and they couldn't withstand the evolutionary processes because the deficits that they hold within were far too great for them to withstand the evolutionary possibility of the first trimester. And so that's why they keep starting over again, but they can't seem to get out of that first trimester. So the first trimester is the salt that is the catalyst to evolution. And you're going to feel the pain of all your predispositions, waking up the latent viruses, dealing with the pain in your eyes, ear, nose, and throat, dealing with all the different diagnosable conditions that are either right there that you've been dealing with or stuff from the past. And so, yeah, you're going to be feeling everything, and not everyone's prepared to do that. But that's your first trimester, is dealing with the pain from your suppressed energy because of the medical holistic system who has stilted your evolution. Okay, so once you graduate from that, which some people have, because some people are dying to live, like seriously, so they get through that portion of it. They've drinking so much J juice like I did, where I was in a cured state, okay, that I got off the J juice, didn't feel anything. It wasn't influenced by even the flu viruses or even the tiny common cold. And I think right after Dr. Phil, because that's when the last time I was really sick with a respiratory condition. Before the COVID was in 2018, I was on 8 different airplanes. So I caught some kind of viral flu, and I was dealing with that when I came back from that whole stint with Dr. Phil. And so from that point on, I was doing so much JayJay that I put myself in a cured state. Yes, and I wasn't dealing with the colds and flu season thereafter. Okay, so you're in a cured state. That's the second trimester where you have a sigh of relief. The third trimester is finally acknowledging that you live in a dynamic environment and you can't get away from evolutionary viruses that are going to attempt to upgrade you and will upgrade you. And you have to go with it and feed it and understand the energy behind it. The first lines of defense have already been opened up in the first trimester. The second trimester, now you're in a cured state, but the third trimester is now understanding your first and second lines of defense that are going to be activated when there's new viruses in the environment. And you go with it. But that's like, that's being a senior in high school, is when you finally graduated to a certain point where now you understand the world that you live in, and then you start picking and choosing the microbiomes you want to enter into, and is it worth having to recover and evolve to the level of the microbiome that you just left? So then, yes, autonomy is going to be your best friend. Because then what happens is as these viruses float through your backyard, you can take them on, but they won't be so aggressive. Like if you were in a room full of people with so many conflicting viral energy that you now have to go and evolve to. And so there are 3 stages. 3 stages of the JayJay mentality to finally get you to a point of evolutionary thought processes and evolutionary lifestyles. But most people can't get past the first trimester. So if you can get past the first trimester, you've figured it out. If you can't get past the first trimester, then yeah, you'll be stuck in the cycle of feeling something and then squelching it with pills, powder, supplements, and detoxes. And even if you get into the second trimester, you'll be so addicted to being in a cured state that the body will cannibalize itself, and so will the environment. So, I mean, even though you got to a point of the second trimester, that's not the end. You're not done with the JayJay mentality. Now it's understanding that viruses that come through are going to be new and different, and you don't know who's going to release what in the atmosphere. You have no control over what happens over there in China, what happens over there in India, what happens over there in Africa, what happens over here in the US. We have people from all over the world coming to the US now with all the different pandemics and natural disasters and political disasters, that we're going to be in some kind of viral soup for a long ass time until they have homogenized the world. That's why America and even, like all the different countries are now becoming heterogeneous to eventually become homogenous. What is heterogeneous? When you're taking two different diverse viral energies and you put them together and you're seeing what comes from it. So we're bringing over the Haitians, the Afghan refugees, other refugees from foreign wars, and just like in Vietnam, I was brought over here to America and had to deal with, and they had to deal with me and I had to deal with them. And there was a lot of explosive activity when you're bringing in heterogeneous entities together. But eventually things become homogenized. And so after the Vietnam War, things were homogenized. We all assimilated. I assimilated to America. America assimilated to me and my culture. And so we have a great presence, the Vietnamese community and all of that. And it's going to happen in the future. There's going to be a great presence of the Afghans, great presence of the Haitians. We have law and order to keep everyone in line. We have this virus that's going to be the leveling the playing field. And so the first three stages of the first stage of JayJay is going to be the hardest for most people. And so if you're at a major deficit, it's going to be the hardest for you. Those that are relatively balanced and relatively healthy, and I say that relatively, it might be a little bit easier to stay on if you have that kind of will to live. Those that have lost the will to live won't handle the first trimester of the JayJays. And so, yeah, if you're in hospice, the first trimester of JayJays is going to be next to impossible. Not that it's not impossible. It's possible, but you have to have the will in your brain to live. And you have to have a support system around you. If you have a bunch of de-evolutionary forces and you're trying to evolve and you're in hospice, that energy, your family and friends are going to destroy you. And so it's difficult when someone has their one foot in the grave to try to evolve and get through the first trimester of the JayJay mentality. And so breaking this down to the 3 stages, the 3 trimesters, and all that stuff will make it easier so you understand what you're in for. It's going to be a long, long game for some people. So if you get through the first stage of the JayJay mentality, pat yourself on the back. So the younger you are, the easier it's going to be relative to your predispositions. You could be young and have autism and other types of diagnosable conditions, like aggressive ones that, even the first trimester is not going to be in your future. And so, there is that. But I'll tell you, getting through the evolutionary portion of our life right now is applying the JayJay mentality and understanding the 3 stages of it. So you know where you are at any given moment, and that the specific measurable result is reversing the aging process. The specific measurable result is not trying to look cute and fit into a social image. When I was dealing with this virus, I was bloated. So someone is all about plastic surgery and aesthetics. They're not going to like the evolutionary process because they're going to be paunchy. They're going to have a little bit of weight gain, a little bit of bloatedness. They're going to have a belly a little bit during that process until they finally even out and evolve and adapt. And so, even some people out there that have been on the JayJay mentality, they're so pigeonholed in their lifestyle. They're so pigeonholed in their social statuses and the image they must uphold that they can't get out of their own way. Okay, so the evolution is not trying to fit into an image, that you allow your body to go through its metamorphosis, because the JayJay mentality is a metamorphosis. You're eating foods that you're eating a lot of food that you probably haven't really eaten you're extricating yourself from all the de-evolutionary influences. That right there in of itself is a feat. And so, I don't know, but I wanted to give you that guide for you so you understand what you're in for. Because salt is a catalyst to evolution. Salt is a cure, but you don't want to be in a cured state. You want to evolve with these viruses. So any virus that you come in contact with, you're going to have to deal with after you get through the first 2 trimesters. Doesn't mean that, I will not go into a crowd of people right now. I'm not probably for a long ass time. When that will be, our society is, there's so many people, 7 billion people. 7 billion people. Okay, and people are dying and reproducing all the time, and they're reproducing kids that still have the same issues. And so you're going to have to deal with that energy on some level. It doesn't mean you have to go out in the crowd of people and deal with it and put yourself in an unpredictable situation. No, you go do your things. You either get stuff delivered to you, or you wear a mask and you go into the grocery store and you make your movements very quick and furtive and purposeful, and you get the hell out. But yeah, thank God for the conditioning in the beginning of the whole COVID, that the whole stay home, stay safe. I get wearing the mask. I will not put myself in position to be wearing a mask 8 hours a day, but that's my choice. And I have the luxury to have that choice because the amount of skills that I've acquired, that I have, a lot of opportunities that I can work from home. But some people have not afforded themselves the diversity in their skill sets. And so they're relegated to being out there in the public wearing a mask 8 or 9 hours a day. Okay, but I won't go out there and hang out with people. I won't. Not because they're vaccinated or unvaccinated, just because the amount of viral soup that's out there is just intense. And I don't need, when you think about it, do I really need to go see a movie? I have Netflix. Do I really need to go out there and go to a restaurant? I could either cook at home or I could do takeout. Do I have to be around a bunch of people? No, I don't need that energy. I create my own energy. I convert my own energy. I don't need energy from other people to motivate me. I use Facebook. You guys, whether you're watching me or not, motivate the hell out of me. I hope that I motivate the hell out of you. And so I think that the social media and the internet has really increased the intelligence of mankind, but it also has dumbed mankind down because people are resistant to new information. And so, at least you're given a choice. But if you want to understand the stages of the JayJay mentality, if you can get through the first stage, the first trimester, you almost have it in the bag. Now you just have to understand the world has changed. You don't want to be out there all the time because you're going to have to be in a cured state, and our government is going to expect you to be in a cured state, not communicable, not dropping your mucus RPGs everywhere, and that you are stable. You're not running a fever and all that stuff. And so you're going to have to now think about your movements very carefully once you reach the second trimester. Because then, when you go out there in a plane, in a train, in any type of group situations, you'll be subject to the conditions of the people. And it means that you're going to have to evolve. And if you're sensitive to the environment, and that's why I gave you the strategy, once you get through the first trimester and you understand the second trimester, then you're able to use J juice as a temporary cure to make sure that you don't evolve to different energies until you come home. And that's something you're going to have to play with once you reverse all your issues. So there is strategy to the JayJay mentality and moving around in our society in a diverse, dynamic society. But you got to get through the first trimester first. And some people will not make it through. Not because they couldn't, it's because they couldn't get their lifestyle and their belief systems and their body and their mind and their spirit all on board. There was too much overwhelming de-evolutionary energy in their household as well as the group of friends they hang out with. And so the first trimester is out of the question for many people out there. It's unfortunate, but at least that's how you can gauge your pathway to autonomy in a diverse, dynamic world. All right, bye.